The world has come to standstill with the pandemic due to COVID-19 virus. Thanks to the frontline health warriors and scientists who stood up to the occasion and has saved humanity. Today, in the record history of time, we have a vaccine. Thanks a lot to all who have worked hard. We are proud, but at the same time, there is fear, doubt, and speculation. And it is our duty to clear all their doubts, and also to know how important to get vaccinated so that life and society can come back to normal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Professor Virendra Chavan, the Chairman, Executive Council, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Let me have the pleasure of giving a brief introduction of Dr. Virendra Singh Chavan. He is currently the Executive Committee Chairman of NAAC, an autonomous institution of University Grants Commission UGC. Professor Chavan is an Indian scientist and a Rhodes Scholar working in the fields of genetic engineering and biotechnology, and known for his contribution to the development of recombinant vaccine for malaria. He was honored Padma Shri in 2012. Well, in 1979, Professor Chavan joined Indian IIT Kanpur as an assistant professor and returned to Delhi in 1982 as reader, and in 1986 he was promoted as professor. Till 1988 he continued and then resigned to join International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, which is a non-profit research organization under the aegis of United Nations Industrial Development Organization as senior scientist, and was entrusted the leadership of the work group involved in the research on malaria. In 1998, he was appointed as director of the institute, a post he held till 2014. Professor Chavan has been associated with international bodies such as World Health Organization as member of the Expert Advisory Board on Vaccines and Biological Standards, International Union of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, Asia Pacific International Molecular Biology Network, South Korea as member of the technical research group, and he is a very towering personality and a distinguished figure in the field of academics. Thank you.
Vaccine development is very robust. So you can see not every country is ready with the infrastructure and scientific backup. When the DCGA, in our case DCGA or any drug controller or regulatory authority give you approval, they give you approval on the basis of what you submitted as a developer. And then you can do so. Typically in phase 3 trial, which is efficacy and safety trial, large safety in population, you take up to 30 to 40,000 people. These are done for an unknown virus or unknown bacteria, unknown pathogen, what we call double-blinded placebo control. And they're normally done very quickly. If you take 100 people in your trial, 50 will receive the vaccine in the doses that you've established in your phase 1 trial, and 100 will not get. And these people will be out as normal, and they don't know whether they have vaccine or placebo. Now you watch these people and see, after some time you already pre-decide, after 6 months or 4 months depending on the infection rate, you then open the key. The developer or the people who are vaccinating do not have the key to this data. That data is taken care of by a totally independent committee which have nothing to do with the company or the developer or the scientist, and this is how vaccines are developed. If you find in your placebo, which is you've not given the vaccine but given some saline or some other very well known vaccine, there are infections in your placebo, very few infections in your vaccinated people, then that's how you calculate the efficacy. So in the case of Moderna, for example, the claimed efficacy after phase 3 trial was 95%. It would mean that in the people who got vaccinated, there were 95% people who did not get the infection compared to the placebo. So all trials work like this. So in the case of, since pandemic is going on, and this is very important to understand, we were in a very unusual situation. So when unusual situation happens, science is as good as science is, safety is already guaranteed, then drug controllers across the world can take unusual, or what some people say, decision which are depending on the seriousness of the disease. And this is what is called emergency usage approval. Normal time you won't use emergency because there is no emergency. Vaccines are developing at a slow pace. But here, because a lot of people are dying, people in hospitals, so all the vaccines today, as of now, till today, have only emergency usage approval, which means this emergency is going on, we have to deal with the infection and let's go ahead and vaccinate because we know we are safe, we know they are immunogenic, and we know this will be one of the important way of dealing with the virus spread. At the same time, while vaccines are being given, at least in 40 countries now, the point has to be underscored that you cannot just immunize people in 30 or 40 countries because they have vaccines, either have ability to buy them or ability to produce them. Since the world is the way it is, that every part of the world is connected to the other part of the world, it is absolutely necessary that every country, populations in every country are immunized to a certain extent, which is good enough to contain the virus spread. So it's not that India can do, but country in Africa can do without vaccination. So that is where pandemic can never be controlled. So bottom line is, everybody should have access. And then there are a whole lot of questions. Where would poor countries who do not make their vaccines, etc. And that is being dealt at international level. Some countries might get this vaccine a little bit later, but point is that everybody has to be vaccinated, and international leaders, and especially a country like India, will have a major role to play because India is the largest producer of vaccine. Currently we are in emergency situation because many people have to be immunized, and but let's say 6 months from now or 10 months from now, many more vaccines will be made, number of vaccines will be available, maybe more effective vaccines will be available, and then role of country like India where production is done or for all vaccine will become very, very important. So in India, I think it's a right to feel proud about the achievement of Indian scientists, Indian policies, Indian manufacturer. Not only we produce vaccines of very high quality, international standard, and we are the largest suppliers of vaccine that saves millions of children. So let me go back to the vaccines. So some vaccines are in the late stages of development, and there's no question that they will not show up by February, March, maybe, or certainly by April. You would have at least 3-4 more vaccines will rolled out. In India, production for Oxford vaccine, as you know, Covishield is already there, and peace in humans. Bharat Biotech is making inactivated virus vaccine, which is under phase 3 trial, extended phase 3 trial mode. India is also making vaccine developed by Russia, which is called Sputnik 5. That's also already under production. There's a very exciting vaccine which is coming out from a company called Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson results are ready and they are waiting for approval. That seems to be a single shot vaccine. Unlike this vaccine, when you immunize, for example, if I get immunized today, vaccinated today, I must return where I got the vaccine, and for the same vaccine I should get a second shot. And I think for public it is very important to understand, if the protocol is that you have 2 shots, then you must take 2 shots. And so therefore it's a bit tedious first you come and the second time you come, but it has to be done. Johnson & Johnson vaccine seems to be a single shot. So when these kind of vaccines are also come in the market, then I think the paucity that there are not enough vaccine, I think the quantity of vaccines hopefully by summer will not be a major problem, and many countries who have not been able to receive vaccine will also start getting vaccine through international mechanism, through by their own mechanism, and so on and so forth. There is also a question if the virus infection rates have really come down. I'm just now dealing question that they come up. Then is it necessary to be vaccinated? So that's a common question right now. Now there's no spread in my city or in my country. Why should I vaccinate? Because there will be there can be some small side effects. So this is very clearly should be understood about this virus. So many countries where the infection rates had gone down, the virus has come back with huge glory. As I speak with you today in Hong Kong, where there very little virus, America, huge virus, Europe still struggling, and a country like UK where science is so mature, is really struggling to deal with virus. So to think that the infection rates have gone down in my state or in my city or in my village, and therefore no need to virus, I think re-examined, and this virus has not gone anywhere. It's very much among us. And I'm very happy to see wherever I go in my city or I travel, that people are very disciplined, and in every situation people are using masks. So this is very important to tell at this stage. These vaccines do not claim, so far that have come, that if you're vaccinated you will not get infection. The vaccines claim is only that you will not get severe disease and you will not go to hospital and you'll be protected from death, which I think is a very important outcome. Even if you get infection, which you might, your severity of getting infection itself might be low because you already have antibodies, or as I said, your immune system able to deal with, but you still can be infected. And whatever data we have so far, it is possible to be completely vaccinated, get some viral load, and even spread it. As we do more vaccination, as we follow large number of millions of people, I think we will have more robust data on affirming the statement that I'm making. But till we produce good quality data from rest of the world, we should, even after vaccination, and in this case right now we are doing health worker, wearing of a mask is absolutely essential. Washing your hand is absolutely essential. Testing if you have fever is absolutely essential. So nothing should change, except for we will hope that in large measure we will break the chain of infections in the population. Another lurking question, and virus is playing games as it were. When the vaccine was rolled out in UK was the first country to start vaccination in the world. Around the same time, a virus had mutated into a form which is now famously known as UK mutants. So what are these mutants and why should we worry about them? Let's just explain this 1 minute. Viruses have to multiply in the host. Viruses cannot reproduce themselves, and all life forms, no matter what life form, the trees or fish, one of the basic desire of the DNA is to multiply. So viruses, since have no machinery, they enter a human body or a bat body or any living cell and use the machinery of the host. In this case, machinery of the human. So it unloads its DNA material, or RNA material, and tricks our cellular machinery to multiply. The reproduction of virus is not a high fidelity. What I mean by high fidelity, the copies are made at a very fast rate. And when you are copying DNA or copying RNA, you could have small minor changes. Every time the sequence of nucleotide, a small change takes place, we call a mutation has happened. And this is inherent to viruses. This is nothing new. All viruses inherently mutate. So it's not surprising that the Covid-19 or the SARS-CoV-2 will also mutate. And we've been following. And how do you know that the virus has mutated and what is the mutant form? Now these science, if it happened 30, 40 years back, they're very difficult. There's no way to tell you I'm dealing with mutants quickly. But today science has moved so fast that when you find in a given city suddenly something unusually happening, so you isolate the virus from patient. This is called surveillance. So you pull out the virus from suddenly if something strange. This is what was happening in Southeast England. Suddenly very large number of people were getting infected, more than they were being infected in other parts of UK. And when this virus was isolated and found there were very specific dominant mutations had taken place. And without going into structural detail where the mutations were, sometimes mutations happen and it helped the virus to enter in our cell even more. So that happened with the UK mutant, the South African mutant, there's a Brazilian mutant. I cannot imagine there will be an American mutant, there could be a mutant in India. These mutations will occur everywhere where the virus is. Many times these mutations happen and virus is selected, which is not so dangerous to us. And this is how viruses disappear. Many times viruses come, kill a lot of people and they become silent. In the case of COVID-19, that has not happened. So all the mutants that are being dominant right now seems to spread much faster. And earlier information was that while they spread faster, they do not kill humans more. The killing rate was same as the old virus which so-called emerged in China or wherever. But as we learn more about these viruses, and we can only do experiments in the lab, and I show you there's no other disease or science is getting focused than the COVID-19 right now. So latest information is that maybe the UK mutant not only spreads faster, but also might harm humans more than the original virus. Then immediately a question comes. You've developed vaccines based on the virus which genome sequence was given in January 2020. Mutants, as you were explaining, somebody will ask me, have a different sequence because of mutations. So will these vaccines be effective or will these vaccines will be useless and we'll have to find more vaccines? So the information till now, it is done in the lab. It is, you do this very standard experiment, isolate antibodies and ask the question, mutant in the lab or in an animal neutralize or not. Good news as of now is that all the mutants so far are taken care of by the same vaccine. What does it hold for the future? Will all mutants or will there be some mutants which may not be covered by current vaccination? In theory, it is possible that some mutants might escape. Will they spread? We don't know. Will they disappear? We don't know. Will they become dominant? We don't know. So the other very major question, a lot of people who are a little bit skeptical, should we take vaccine? Another question of how long the immunity will last. Suppose I get vaccinated today and 28 days later I take another infection and I'm above 60-year-old, will I be protected after 5 months or 6 months? So the answer to that is, as of now, we know that the immunity that we develop at least will last 4 to 5 months or 5 to 6 months. Will it last longer? We don't know, because the longer has not happened. That will only happen if after vaccine for 6 months I am followed. So all these experiments will have to be done continuously all the time. And I assure you all these experiments will be done continuously all the time. All of us who will be vaccinated, and I think all the vaccines are safe. And the question whether we should take vaccine or we should not wait vaccine, I think is an old question. The one of the most potent way of dealing this virus will be vaccination. And my personal scientific advice would be we should fearlessly take vaccines if they are safe. Some minor after effects will take place. Vaccines are supposed to cause some adverse events, but if adverse events are as low as they have been found world over, then I would consider these vaccines super safe, absolutely safe. If there was something else available to deal with these viruses, we would have debated that question. But right now there's nothing, and vaccines traditionally are the best way of dealing with a deadly virus or deadly bacteria or deadly pathogens. So I hope I've been able to answer all questions. More mutants will come, we'll have to watch. So therefore all countries which have the scientific ability, isolating viruses from patients and DNA and sequencing their genomic material should be a major focus. As is the focus on immunizing as many people as we can, there should also be in parallel a very big program of surveillance, very big program of following people, how long the immunity lasts. Would we need vaccine again after 6 months? But as of now, these questions will be answered in future. We hope, scientists are hoping that so many people get vaccinated all over the world that virus simply will not have chances to spread as fast as it has been. So with this, I hope I've been able to bring up-to-date information. We can fear the virus, we can respect the virus. I think respecting the virus is a better option than fearing it. And we can respect the virus by vaccinating ourselves. We can respect the virus by never taking our mask off. I'm going to put my mask on again as soon as I finish this recording, and keep doing that till the advisory is there. I think one thing is fundamentally important after vaccination. Even after second dose, your mask should still be on. Until a huge amount of data is produced, then mask can be on. This is the way we will be able to open our offices, our factories, our schools, more important, our schools, our university, our colleges, and slowly come back to the normalcy as it were. Certain part of normalcy would have changed forever, some for good, some for bad, but right now the top priority should be, world should be able to make safe vaccine, many more vaccines, and immunize population first which are at risk, and then the rest of the population. Thank you very much.